That's it. It's done. Well, almost. Your 2025 fantasy footy season is almost in the books, but we have got one last strategy session and there's a bunch of stuff we've got to help you with through this final round. Whether you're going to try and win it all, get a personal best ranking, or you're going to beat some mates and colleagues in a league, here at the Coaches Panel, we've got you set as we head into round 24 and our final strategy session of the 2025 fantasy footy season. Joining me on this podcast to chat through all the big content pieces, we're going to hand out some 2025 awards. There's some Izak Rankine replacements we've got to help you fix. Stocks on, stocks off. And I'm going to put MiniMonk right in the thick of it with some big calls for 2026. Yep, he's back on for our final team podcast of the year. Mini, nice to see you again. What a year it has been, and yet we're still here at the final round of the year, and we've got a bunch of big decisions we've got to make.
Oh, absolutely we do. You hit the nail on the head. We've got Izak Rankine, who at the time of recording hasn't been given a suspension yet, but he will almost certainly be suspended for a couple of weeks and therefore be a trade out should you have it in SuperCoach and Dream Team, or if you own him in AFL Fantasy, he's going to have to go. And yet in AFL Fantasy, you still have another trade to use. You got places to try and make up some ground, whether it's to try and reach your rank goal, to beat who you're facing off in league. It's going to be a fun one to discuss coming to the last round of the year for the home and away season, and I cannot wait.
It's going to be a ripper. Maybe we start with Izak Rankine again. We're not going to make any comments about what was said or the current proceedings that are happening around it. We're going to purely narrow in on the fantasy footy implications. And our premise is he will not play on Saturday. That's the premise we're going for. So let's help fantasy coaches and super coaches make the decision of who and how they're going to trade out for him. So we'll look at some dollar bargain options in a second, but across the formats, Mini, it feels like Geelong and Sydney have two of the best matchups of forward eligible players. I don't think we've got a heap of Sydney ones that we're probably looking at anyway, but who are, in your eyes, are the best three, pick of the litter? Don't worry about price. I just want the best one-off scoring hit. Who are the best three forwards we should be wanting to trade Izak Rankine into or out of this week?
I think you've hit two out of the three on the head when you say, Geelong and Sydney. Bailey Smith against Richmond, like genuine vice captain or captain option. They've been good to be competitive earlier on in the season, but they are out of puff, leaking points all over the field. I think that in a similar vein, Chad Warner for the Swans against West Coast could go an absolute tear. And if you're putting the third one in, it probably has to go back to Geelong, and you're probably picking Brian Myers, honestly. Like, he's been probably a little bit poorer the last couple of weeks compared to what some coaches were hoping for, but he's still hit 90s. Yeah. And we saw what he did, 3 weeks ago against Port Adelaide, where he hit 120 odd in AFL Fantasy, and I think a similar saw in SuperCoach. So, yeah, if I'm leaning, it's probably towards those three at this stage. You're just top of the line. You're going there if you're trying to maximize your point scoring.
I can forecast a bunch of probably more likely AFL fantasy teams rather than SuperCoach. Again, we've got limited trades. And yet again, this year has reminded us, yes, trade hard, trade aggressive, trade early, but you're going to need something in the last month of the year. How many times do we need to learn the lesson? Whether it be Neil, whether it be Chera, whether it be Ranken, however we got there, you're running a risk profile gauntlet that history would say you're going to need at least one trade over the final 2 weeks of the year just to maximize output. I could see some teams in fantasy having Jeremy Cameron, Brian Myers, Bailey Smith, and Sean Manor, who is, again, outstanding on the weekend in fantasy. It's not going to be an uncommon sight in that platform anyway to see four cats in the forward line. Let's help coaches then that maybe are on a little bit of a dollar dilemma. Again, maybe it's because they've only got a singular trade in SuperCoach and Dream Team and really no cash in the bank to play with, or they're prioritizing another move they like to make, whether it's they've gone to check out our trade target episodes that are available on our YouTube channel, or they've just narrowed in a matchup they want, and they actually need something that is under the price point of Izak Rankine to justify and to make the move. Who are the kind of three value options across the formats that you go, look, Rankin and below, these would be the three guys you'd consider going for?
I think it varies a little bit between the formats because you look at the pricing. Ranken still comes in as the 7th most expensive forward in SuperCoach, whereas in AFL Fantasy, he's down at about 15th. So there's a bit of a disparity there between them. So let's start with SuperCoach. I think the first place you can start at, and you look right underneath his price tag, Jeremy Cameron, 500,000 against Richmond. No Shannon Neal as well. Oh, field day. That's one where you're going, yeah,
or Nick Loston, by the way.
Yeah, geez, that's pretty good. And in a similar vein, I might throw this guy in for AFL Fantasy as well if you're wanting a bit of a pod play. But he's got 187 in SuperCoach on the weekend. Do you happen to know who I'm talking about?
Go on, say it.
Harry Mackay.
Say it. Say his name.
Carlton against Essendon. Early on. Genuinely, if you want to take a punt on a VC on that Thursday night, could be a play, could genuinely be a play to just throw heaven on earth. If you've got an extra player, you can get to 23 premiums and you can put him on your forward bench and have a look at him on a Thursday night.
Oh my.
That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun if you're asking me. And then in SuperCoach, just chuck the third one in. Sean Manor, 440k. Geelong versus Richmond. It's fun. It's just easy. AFL Fantasy, I've given you one with Harry Mackay.
Agree.
Let's give you another. How about we go to someone who got a lot more mid-time on the weekend and actually looked, pretty reasonable in the process, I'd say.
Okay,
Liam Baker.
Heading GWS.
Do you be interested?
Yeah.
And GWS is the third place I'd go, absolutely. Against St Kilda, Saints have been pretty good on the weekend. Yeah. In the last few weeks, I've been managing to scrape over some wins. Can I interest you in a Cogs?
Please.
Can I interest you in a Toby Green? You're going to go back to the Cogs, well, your boy, not quite your boy, but adjacent to your boy.
My boy adjacent. I'm here for it. Yep.
Your boy adjacent. Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's enough options. I think in AFL Fantasy, it's probably a little bit harder to find an option that you're perfectly happy with.
Yeah.
But I think if you scroll down, you could go Travis Boak against Gold Coast in his retirement game. That could be one that would be very interesting. You could go Aaron Cadman with no Jesse Hogan, who has managed to pop some 4 or 5 goal games in the last couple of weeks. Hell, the fact that Shannon Neal is out, you could go a Jack Martin if he's not the sub. Genuinely, so many options to be able to pick from this week. It all is about what tickles your fancy, but I think those are the few that I'd go towards in SuperCoach and AF.
Yeah, I like it. Some ripping options for coaches there. The beauty of the final round of the year, you don't care a break even. All you care about is this one singular week, what they can do. We are all daily fantasy coaches when it comes to trades we're making this week. We're just looking at the matchup. We're just looking at what we can afford and getting the absolute best of the best output. Speaking of the best, we've had an absolute bumper year, not just here at the Coaches Panel, and a massive shout out to every single person that has listened to a podcast, watched a video, subscribed to the channel, given us a 5-star rating, interacted with us on social media, become a Patreon, got involved in the conversations across social media, no matter what it is. From me, Minnie, and the whole rest of our team, while it is us that you largely see, a massive thank you for your support. You've also got around us with our sister podcast, Finders Keepers, that Jordox has been faithfully doing since March. It's been an unbelievable year for us here at the Coaches Panel, and it's because of people just like yourself tuning in every single week, getting involved. So we're super grateful for you for being on the journey right throughout the pre-season and now the season proper in 2025. And every year, Minnie, we kind of hand out a couple of awards. We basically change them every single year, partially because we get bored by the titles, and the other part is I flat out forget what we dubbed last year, outside of probably one being the MVP. So I want to we got a couple of options in each. Let's talk about the MVP for you for a minute. So the best pick of the season, it could be best starting squad, best trade-in option, best rookie. You could qualify it for whatever you like, but give us who would be probably, in your eyes, the best player or the best move to have made in 2025?
I think the best player, I might go best player to have started for SuperCoach and best player
Sure.
to have traded into, which I think is relevant to both. I think the best player to have started in SuperCoach this year was Hugh McCluggage.
Yeah,
You know,
good
he
shout.
is the third highest averaging player, was a midfielder, is averaging nearly 120, and I think he came in at under sixes, maybe 550s. Came in very cheap.
Mm.
A lot of us went towards Josh Dunkley instead of him, which you could
Or
argue
Ashcroft
was
even.
potentially just a mistake. He just missed it. But I mean, he's had a fantastic year, and if he's not all Australian this year, then we
Oh,
riot.
gosh.
Like we absolutely riot.
Oh, mate. Yeah, no, without question. There's a couple of others that have been pretty impressive. Yeah, go. Who have you got?
I was going to say the one to trade into this year, when he was at his bottom price across the formats, if you got this trade in right, you went to the moon. And it's not one that I even considered putting on my radar. And for any coach that did it, well done to you. Kudos. Matt Rowell.
Yeah, good shout. Great shout.
Just at that bottom price, like probably arguably the second best trade in of the year behind Brodie Grundy, but it's really hard to flick your rocks around. But if you got onto Matt Rowell when he was at 500s in SuperCoach, and I think he was high 8s in AFL Fantasy.
Oh, wow.
He's just taking you to the moon, man.
What an outstanding move that probably up until last week in AFL Fantasy was still very good in SuperCoach. He hasn't missed a beat for 3 months. It's just outstanding. Like my MVPs, I think they're right. Mine, I'd probably put 2 as trade-in moves. One would be at a junction at round 10 when Tom de Koning goes out and misses that game at round 10. You could have got it under 900K in AFL Fantasy and basically a flat 500K in SuperCoach. Brodie Grundy. Since then, in round 10, he's gone an average of 125 in fantasy and 147 in SuperCoach. It's just moves like that, as you mentioned, the timing of rucks is hard, but there was a junction where we could do it. And a lot of people went to a TDK that didn't have him. A lot of people went to Gorn. Grundy was right because it helped you buy structure and proven value. The other one we'll talk about an underrated hero in a moment, but probably one for me that's low-key, not getting enough love this year, was the trade into Colby McKercher coming off the bye. Like he was basically a 600K guy in fantasy, 330 in SuperCoach at the time. Since then, he's gone an average of 97.4 in fantasy and gone up over 900,000. Gone over nearly, well, in fact, pretty much 200K in SuperCoach and an average of 104.5. Like we preach value so much during the preseason. And then we kind of get to the mid-season buys and we turn our brain off and go, I'm getting the best. And that's not a wrong ideology. But if you nailed that value move through the buys, you're getting premium performances at D6 for pennies on the dollar. Like it's absolutely incredible what's been able to do.
And isn't it funny how we talk about this and during this whole thing, we haven't talked about the player that came into 2025 as absolute value, is the highest averaging player in AFL Fantasy, is the 7th highest averaging player in SuperCoach, in Brodie Smith.
Yeah.
Like he's just been there and been
amazing.
Good. He's been fantastic for us coaches. Yes, he's missed a couple of games, but you know, if you're going to average 117 across the formats for the price that he came in at, I think you can probably stomach a couple of missed games.
Yeah. And again, the ownership percentage is so wild and high. And if you ever jumped off him, which a few people did at various junctions, the panic of how to get back to him created so much. And that's always a good sign, isn't it? The player that you go, if I don't have him, this is going to hurt. If I don't have him, this is going to hurt. And Smith, Grundy, probably Naz for a better chunk of the back half of the year. These were the players that if you didn't have, they were taking the year away from you. And that's always a good sign that you sit in that MVP conversation. What about an underrated hero? Somebody that's just not getting enough love. I feel like you already shouted a good one in a Hugh McCluggage. But who's a player that is at this junction of the year, we're either forgetting, we're starting to hate on, that actually low-key is someone that's pretty underrated in giving coaches a good, successful year?
I'm going to be accused of bias here, but Andy Brayshaw, man.
I agree.
Like
spot on.
Averaging 115 in SuperCoach, averaging 102 in AFL Fantasy. So not as high. But if you saw by total points, He's 12th in AFL Fantasy. I think he's 7th or 6th in SuperCoach. He's 6th. Like, for what we paid at the start of the year and the fact that he's played every game, he's been consistent, he was a genuine captaincy option earlier on in the year, like, he's just done the job. Like, he is exactly the type of player that you want to pick in your starting squad and just let them sit there and just let them do the job, and he's done that.
Yeah, like, just purely on SuperCoach, because I agree, he's mine. He was priced under that 600K price point in SuperCoach, and by the end of round 9, he's up at 659K, and he's averaging 129. Like, we understand it's a trading game, and you navigate your way through the year, and that's where success ultimately comes. But to be able to put yourself in a position to win the thing from a ranking perspective, you've got to nail a couple of the hot start guys, because you can't chase the pack with everyone. You've got to hit in a couple. And in SuperCoach, if you hit with Brayshaw early, well, it allowed you to go, oh, who did I miss? Okay, I can correct course. Now I can go get the Whitfield type. I can get the Sheasel type. I can get the whoever it was that was running away from you at a junction of the year. I think he's just completely underrated. And yeah, he's not been amazing in the last 2 months of the year in fantasy, but unless you paid peak dollar for him, whatever. Who else are you trading into? Tom Green, he's doing about the same. Zach Merritt, he's doing about the same. Like, outside of Bont, and even then through the buys, he was probably doing about the same. We don't really have in fantasy premium midfielders that week in, week out, we're like, 105, 110, 110, not 110, every single week. We just don't have that this year. The game's evolving.
I've got a couple more that I'll chuck in there as just
Please.
Chugged away, did their jobs, was absolutely just staples of a lot of teams, really. Jack Sinclair and Max Holmes.
Good shout.
Both of them, like second and third defender by total points in SuperCoach, and fourth and fifth defenders in AFL Fantasy by total points. They're just chucked away in your teams. Like, a lot of coaches started Jack Sinclair and wished they probably started Nazire instead, but, you know, you've still got onto a pretty good score. And Max Holmes was either a start or a trade into for a lot of teams early, and just chugged away and went at the 102 in AFL Fantasy and the 110 in SuperCoach. Like, these are genuinely just the picks that sit in your team, do the job they need to do, aren't fancy, but yeah, they do what they need.
I feel like you could probably throw, like, Matt Kennedy's underrated, probably more in the ownership sense. Like, he's been underrated. George Hewitt and his start to the year was underrated. And even as much as, you know, we talk about him as a replacement at the start of the year, like Izak Rankine at the moment, top 5 in AFL Fantasy for forwards, based on total points for the year. And in SuperCoach, he's number 2 for total points. And yet it's like, oh, I've got Ranken in my side. Oh, I've got Ranken in my side. And again, no comments about what's happened to him over the last few days. That's a completely separate topic. But it's been the guy that people have wanted to get out of their teams. And it's like, well, you're talking about the number 2 scoring forward in SuperCoach and the number 5 in fantasy. It's more reflective of false starts and injuries and lack of options that have come through there. It's just been a bit underrated what he's kind of done. Like, Caleb Daniels not far off it either, to be fair. Like, he's the number 7 forward for AFL Fantasy when it comes to total points in AFL Fantasy and in SuperCoach. So yeah, there's been patches where he's been meh, but over a totality of the season,
but he was so
to not use the trade,
when we started him.
So cheap, right? And so we sometimes forget that, don't we? As we hired these guys on the value of what they were at peak and not what we paid for them at the time. There's some big underrated guys that have got us through this year. What about, let's have some fun, the ball breaker call of the year, the decision that would have derailed seasons. So either trading into a player that gets injured, which again is a luck variance, or trading into a guy that loses his role or has a form change, or you started them and things went pear-shaped. I feel I could give you a long list, and I might be giving you, our listeners and viewers, a bit of a therapeutic moment. Go on, give us some ball breaker calls that cost people some years.
I mean, it's going to be different for everyone who they've traded into and who they haven't. I mean, for me, it was trading into Charlie Curnow through the buys. I think I traded into his 2 lowest scores of the year. It was so bad, man. I traded into him and he went 25, 27. I traded him out the week after he goes 80. I'm just like,
Oh,
I'm
for
done
God's
with you,
sake.
man. I'm never owning you again. Not even in draft. I don't want a piece of it. I mean, you look at some of the other ones. You know, if you trade into Tristan Cherry at near his peak price just after the bye,
Oh gosh,
been killer. You trade into Max Gawn at the wrong time, it's been killer. You trade into Marcus Bontempelli 2 or 3 weeks early before his price really bottomed out. That's hurt. Some other ones, like people who've traded into Lockie Whitfield right before he got his concussion as well. Like,
oh yeah.
that's just a few of them. Christian Petrarca is arguably a bad trade in a lot of the formats because you pay
Outside of that month where he had like
pretty good price.
Fremantle and stuff like that, kind of back to back. That was it. Yeah. Oh,
Like if you got
trading into the
Caldwell
ACL
and then
of Nick Martin. Oh my gosh.
Nick Martin was on the list as well. There's a lot of pretty bad ones out there. Some of the starting calls as well, or like early calls. Trading into Sam De Koning if you didn't start him. Starting players like Harry Perryman as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back on your round one team, and I can look back on mine. I look at it and go, oh, starting Tom Stewart. Am I going back to the well again? Probably not this year. But like Harry Perryman, Will Day as a starting pick as well. Ollie Hollins as a starting pick.
Oh, Ollie Hollins.
Yeah. Pretty brutal.
Oh, bring me back Sam Taylor. Give me some Sam Taylor vibes. That was good. He was amazing, actually, when he wasn't on field after round one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there was some stinkers this year, wasn't there? At any point in time, you thought Brent Daniels was value. Jumping off of Levi Ashcroft for him only to go 100. Okay, some of these aren't derailing your seasons. But these are some of them.
And they do make a difference.
Right. They absolutely do. And what's happening in Classic is the level of focus and expertise for coaches at the top end of the tree has never been better. The amount of resources, the amount of content to consume has never been more helpful and aided. And then the luck variance, to a degree, has never been more eliminated, but also never been higher. You just can't falter multiple times with 2 or 3 weeks in a row of missing something. All of a sudden, when you're 2 or 3 weeks behind, you're cooked, you're gone. You can miss by a week and not be far off if you nail something, but you've got to be on the whole way through. And if 2 or 3 things just don't land your way and they stack up, it's just harder to get there. It's just the reality of how the game works.
I think I missed the worst one.
Oh, okay. Off the long run up. Go on.
Matthias Filippo at round 10.
At any point. Oh,
yeah. 50, 71 in AFL Fantasy, and then 2 subbed out injured right as you're coming into the buys, and then misses the next 10 weeks. And if you decided in SuperCoach, you know what, I'm going to save the trade, I'm going to hold him, he'll be fine, comes back and drops 2 absolute stinkers.
Oh, yeah.
I think that he takes the cake.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I don't know how many people jumped on it, but if you did, what a handbrake, right? When you go down to get some value to free up an upgrade somewhere else, and then all of a sudden the free up of space trade becomes a forced trade and the only way to go is a rookie, disaster. Hey, I want to get your rookie of the year thought in a minute, but is there one that got away from coaches? I know we've kind of referenced a few like a Hewitt, a McCluggage, even a, who else? Kennedy, based on ownership versus output. Is there anybody else that you feel is like someone that got away from the majority of coaches this year? Because to me, it feels like in SuperCoach, a couple of rookies that got away from people were Murphy Reed and Dan Curtin. I think if we can, again, if we're using hindsight as the decision, those are probably the 2 rooks that based on ownership, we kind of missed as a community. Either they didn't start strong, they had patchy form, but kind of the middle to the back part of when you're looking to move the final rookies off field, they were cooking. They feel like the guys in SuperCoach a lot of people missed.
Yeah, I think that those 2 are definitely a couple that people missed. And there were in considerations for people pretty early on. Yeah. I think Dan Curtin started off quite slow as well, and so people weren't as keen to jump on. And Murphy Reed also, saved his score in that round 1 game by kicking 4 goals in 6 minutes. Like,
Yeah, that's right.
if he doesn't do that, there's a genuine chance that he just plods along and people don't really jump onto him as much.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a few others as well that people really got onto. I mean, there was a few that were really bad ones to jump onto. Like, if you jumped onto a Sardell Hawley, it was just a
I put him in the 50
disaster.
most relevant.
Same with the Cooper Simpson. Just stagnated his cash entirely. There was some other of the good ones.
Is Dane Zorko one that got away from us a little bit as a community? Just like being pretty consistent for the year? I don't know if he's
yes
in
and
that
no.
category. Yeah.
Yes and no, because he came in at such a high price.
Yeah,
like, he was not cheap. And there was a lot of concerns about role. There was a lot of concerns about age and injury. I never felt comfortable going into him, so I don't think I can say that he's one that got away. He didn't kill us like what he did last year when he was underpriced and went on that tear. I'd say Matt Kennedy might be one that did get away a little bit.
I think so. I think that's
just
fair.
because he started at a cheaper price and in a forward line where we were really struggling to pick the players that we wanted to jump onto to start off with. Like, a lot of people had, Baz, had McRae, and then we're trying to find the others to fit in around them, like a Caleb Daniel. People went to a Hugo Garcia. People went to a Luke Jackson. Yeah. There's a few around there.
This is more trauma than helpful. That's all right. What about Rookie of the Year then?
Isn't it?
Like, you could probably give it to a couple, but who in your eyes was the rookie that it was like, man, this was the guy, not from just dollar value improvement, but scores on field? Who was the Rookie of the Year for you in your eyes?
It's hard for it to not be Riley Bice, isn't it?
I agree. Like, Ashcroft was great.
He did his job.
But, yeah.
Bice did his job, did it fast, and made it easy for us when his scores started getting lower. It's like, my scores are decreasing. My coach doesn't trust me in the role as much. Get off me, rather than having to wait for a jump-off point because his price is topped out. Like, I think that's what you want your rookies to do. You want them to get you good scores on field, make their cash, make it fast, and allow you to make an upgrade. And he covered us in the line where we were struggling the most to put rookies on field.
It's good context.
And he got us up to a mid-pricer option so fast. And also provided a bailout option for some of those bad picks, like Perryman, like Sam DeKining, like Ollie Hollins, if you kept holding him as well to that round 6 point. Like,
did he ever?
Has to be Riley Bice.
Oh, that round 3 bye was a godsend for us, wasn't it? It just, especially in SuperCoach and Dream Team, where it's the 3-week price cycle that moves. You're not seeing his price move. You could make that move. You could jump on. You could correct. And as you said, prioritize other issues and away you go. Like, he made at one point his highest. Yeah. No, I'm just saying he made almost 450K in fantasy at his peak and over $250,000 in SuperCoach. We're talking another 100 to 200K across the formats to get him to the value defender, of the guy that was skinnying out in price, the Harry Sheasel that started a little slow or something like that. Like, he was that guy and that good as Ashcroft was and as good as others were for us, Max Hall. Man, he was the one that named it and nailed it.
I think my special mention goes to a player who didn't actually really come in at rookie priced, and nor is he a rookie, but made a lot of cash and did very well for the role we needed him to do, is Ryan Marrick.
Yeah, good shout.
I mean, I think he was at the 2s in SuperCoach and mid 3s in AFL Fantasy, or low 4s when people went on to him. And he was just a walk-up 80 for nearly 10 weeks. Like, he did fantastic for what you needed him to do. So, yeah, I might chuck him into that category as well.
Oh, and look, on the Keeper platform, which is where we've chosen to do our drafting in 2025, and would encourage you, whether it's a single season Dynasty Keeper League, to be doing the same in 2026, where triple position status was an option. He became, and still is for those that are in their final game this week of the year, the ultimate swingman at like he's going to be saving some coaches. What a waiver wire pickup he was. All right, we want to look at 2026 very briefly in a moment, but before we do, our final stocks on, stocks off for 2025. If you're new to the Coaches Panel strategy session, it's where we look at every single game of the round, and Mini tells us one player he wants to own from that matchup and one player he does not, and a reason why for each. Let's go to Thursday night footy and the highest quality of football you're going to see for the year. So high quality, Channel 7 refused to broadcast it, and maybe they will put Sense and Sensibility on instead. So, Essendon versus Carlton. Who are your stocks on and who are your stocks off, Minnie?
I talked about him before. I think I'm stocks on Harry Mackay. But if you're not that bold, I'd be stocks on George Hewitt.
Good shout. Good shout. Who are you off?
Can I say anyone at Essendon again?
Oh, at least, look, Zach probably won't get tagged. Like, there's no Cooper Lord this week, right?
No, that's true.
So Zach tag isn't as bad.
That's true. That's true. He won't get tagged. That's I'm actually still probably stocks off Tom DeConing.
Yeah, that's fair. Even with the great matchup. Yeah, I get it. Last game as a Blue.
I'm still stocks off.
Last game as a Carlton.
He was solo last week, man.
He was bad in fantasy. Fine in SuperCoach, but bad in fantasy. Yeah, not great.
And it's Port relatively easy.
Oh, yeah. Essendon are even easier. Yeah. All right. We got 2 Friday night footy games this week. Collingwood and Melbourne. Who are your stocks on and who are your stocks off?
Can we just go in the obvious one?
Go for
Nick
it.
Dacos?
Yeah.
Stocks on?
Langdon's not heading his way. I'm sorry. No caretaker coach tags. He's just going to have a field day on this one. It's going to get messy. I agree with that. Langdon's not going to him. I'm happy to be proven wrong. That happens a lot, but yeah, no. Caretaker tag my foot. Who are your stocks off then? That might be more interesting.
Christian Petrarca.
Yes. Was this the last time we see him in the red and the blue? That's the question.
Don't tell Kane. Don't tell Kane.
Don't tell Kane, our fellow panelist. Speaking of Kane, by the way, if you're a Patreon or a Spotify podcast paid up subscriber, throughout the months of October and November, you'll get a weekly episode from Kane and I. It is our top 50 keeper ranks. Yeah, if you play in a keeper or a dynasty league, you want to be subscribed to any tier Patreon or a Spotify podcast subscriber. We will go through with you who we believe are the best 50 rated keeper prospects. And so whether you want to get some early inside for 2026 planning or you just love your keeper and dynasty content, stay subscribed during the off-season. We've got that rolling through for you, but that would break his heart seeing Brayshaw and Petrarca leave in multiple years, albeit under different circumstances. The Ken Hinckley Farewell Tour hits its crescendo. We will never tear us apart. The pair and the sun. Who are your stocks on and who are your stocks off in this game?
Let's go stocks on Noah Anderson.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
Keep it simple.
Despite playing Wednesday
He's a lovely.
to end the round, it's going to be beautiful.
Genuinely could be playing for a Brownlow. So might want a couple of best on games in the last 2 rounds to potentially win it.
Got a chance. That's for
Same
sure.
with Rao. They both could poll well.
That's true. Stocks off?
Stocks off. Jordan Sweet, man. Yeah. Been fantastic for owners who've managed to get onto him at a really good price, but Wits is hard.
Bad matchup.
Just would not want to own. Bad matchup.
All right. Next one, the Crows and the Roos. Izak Rankine is void as a stocks off. I'm going to just say you can't cop out on me on that one, given we believe he's unavailable. Because otherwise, the Carlton game, we could say Stephen Kernahan, because he's also unavailable for Carlton. There's a 90s and 80s throwback for people. The 1990s was an era where you got CDs. Anyway, shut up, MJ. Adelaide and North Melbourne. Who are your stocks on and who are your stocks off?
Let's have a fun one. Stocks on Riley Thilthorpe.
Oh, filthy. It's on.
Key forwards against North Melbourne is a fun matchup. It's on.
Get Tex off your waivers, people, in keeper, just saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or Fog. Either of them, man. Just yes. Either of them.
Yes, please. Who are your stocks off in this game?
I am stocks off on Tristan Cherry.
Ooh, big call
I think
after
it's
the week.
wrong time to trade into him. He will be a fantastic pick for 2026, but this is not the matchup you want to own him for, especially when, Brodie Grundy has a better matchup. Rowan Marshall has a better matchup. Tim English has a pretty good matchup. Gorn has
Tom
a good
de Koning
matchup.
has a better matchup.
Yeah, still not going there.
No.
Toby Nankervis has a better matchup.
Oh, good shout. He does too. Well, maybe we could stay in that game then. Stocks on, stocks off Saturday afternoon, the Tigers and the Cats. Do we just say a Geelong forward? Is it as simple as that?
I think it's just a Geelong player. Like, Richmond are leaking points
everywhere.
I don't think people understand how bad it is. They are giving up like 1,800 point totals to teams in AFL Fantasy week after week for the last 5 weeks. And Geelong are one of the highest scoring teams. You get any Geelong player that you can potentially own at whatever price. Like, we just talked about the likes of Baz Smith, Manna, Myers, Jeremy Cameron, but like Jack Martin, if you want to go there, Mark O'Connor, if you want to go there. Heck, I've seen people looking at players like Henry as well.
Zach Guthrie had a monster on them 8 weeks ago.
Zach Guthrie, as well. Bose, if he's not the sub, will be very cheap as well.
Dempsey, if he's rolling around. Oh my goodness. It could get.
Like if you're playing draft and it's your grand final, go to your waiver wire now and find any single cat that you can pluck. And just like if you play Saturday lockout, I'd be fine rolling them in because I think you'll know early enough because they play it. You won't know 100%. But if you don't play a lockout, like stream, man.
Oh man. You're a third of the round through by Friday night's conclusion anyway. So you already got a good indication of, all right, how much do I need to be able to need some ceiling, or am I just needing a baseline to protect a lead? So I agree. That's exactly the matchup I'm going for. And politely, Richmond, the reason they're gifting points, there's a number of reasons, but Uze's in this luxurious position where they've already exceeded expectations. He's playing with house money. So he's like, you know what? I don't have to be restricted about it. I can just teach the kids to play the system I want. I can just we're already ahead in many regards. So he's got that luxurious place of going, no, I don't care. We're going to teach the guys how to do it. We're going to do this. We've already won more games than anybody thought we did. They probably did it after round 1 in many people's eyes, but they've outperformed in terms of victories in that regard. So yeah, I think it's going to be big. Saturday night, just the one game again, West Coast and Sydney. Stocks on and stocks off.
Brodie Grundy.
Brodie's
stocks on.
Freaking field day. If you've got captains on in a draft league, Brodie freaking Grundy. It could be a handy Sheasel type score for you, that's for sure. Who are your stocks off though?
Tom McCarthy.
Yeah, not going to be pretty, is it? Not going to be pretty.
And just like he keeps ticking along, but like if you're relying on him to get 100 in SuperCoach and 90 in AFL Fantasy, I just caution it. I just don't know if this is the week where it's going to happen. I think I've said that a couple of times, and he did it against Port Adelaide and managed to scrape out a reasonable score. Against Adelaide and scrape out a reasonable score. It was an 82 in AFL Fantasy this week, which if you had a D6, you're probably not over the moon about. And in SuperCoach, it was a 77. Like it could be worse, but I think too much role experimentation. They're just trying things now, and Swans are just going to probably rip them apart. Yeah, like in the last 2 weeks, he's moved into midfield, like 40% CBAs. And in the last 5 weeks, I think Sydney are in AFL Fantasy, one of the top 5 hardest inside mids to score against, and they're kind of mid-range in SuperCoach. It's just not the matchup. Hardest.
I just don't want any piece of that. So if you have to go there because you've got no trades in SuperCoach or Dream Team, fair and fine. But that's where, again, take the lessons you can learn from the year, where you apply it and don't get carried away in 2026. All right, let's get into the games that, from a final shaping are really going to be there. There's only two. We're not going to talk about the Wednesday night game because that does not impact your fantasy football. The Giants and the Saints, who are you on and who are you off?
Who am I on is probably the harder question because I genuinely find it hard. Like, aside of probably Naz, who's in amazing form, matchup's not there. Potential for a tag. So you're going Sinclair.
Marshall, maybe
Marshall.
I
don't know. It doesn't feel like a matchup where I really want to own too many players.
Either.
Maybe Whitfield and Ash.
Yeah, maybe a bit of freedom off the back line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
and
be
then
going
who
with
I don't want to own? Yeah. I don't want to... I genuinely, I have one trade left in SuperCoach. And I thankfully don't think I have a forced trade this week. I'm genuinely wondering if I get off of Jack McRae this week.
Oh, yes,
I just don't want to own him.
What was it, 55% time on ground last week? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's gone wrong. That's a derailing trade if you got into him in the last 6 weeks, that's for sure, with the exception of that Richmond game. And then the Doggies and your Dockers. The winner probably goes to finals. It's safe to say the loser probably misses, barring some other outcomes of the round. Who are your stocks on and who are your stocks off?
I think it's hard not to be stocks on Marcus Bontempelli.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Freo were not being restrictive in that midfield. I don't know if they'll try and tag. I don't know if they can even tag someone like Bontempelli with who we have available. Yeah, and it's the type of game you just want your captain to stand up. I'd love Brayshaw to be able to pull out a ceiling score against the Dogs, but I don't know if he can compared to someone like Bontempelli.
Yeah, it's fair. And then the Lions and the Hawks. Who are you on and who are you on?
This might be another game where you go, oh, not sure what I want to do here.
I don't want anyone.
I don't want Dunks. I don't want Zorko.
Don't want McCluggage too much.
More.
No.
I mean, those are the three most relevant players from those two teams. Maybe you want a piece of someone like a Sicily, who's been quite good over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's solid.
But that's about it.
Yeah, it's a finals matchup, and it's and so that's maybe where Dunkley gets you there with the tackle baseline. Maybe I don't know. I don't love it.
I mean, those last two games. Talk about setting up finals. These are genuinely games that can determine who wins formats and who doesn't. Like, it's
absolutely
having the nerve to trade out of someone like a Jack McRae, having the nerve to potentially put the captain on someone like a Bontempelli, or trade out of a Brayshaw, or trade out of a Josh Dunkley. Like, those are genuinely car, hat, 50K winning moves that you could pull if you're stuck in those positions and you have those trades. So it's a very interesting spot to be in for any of those coaches at that top end.
It's very true. We've only got 5 more minutes left in our strategy session for 2025. Don't worry, over on our YouTube channel, already released is our AFL Fantasy Top 10 trade targets for the round, as well as the SuperCoach ones that will drop on a Wednesday afternoon. So make sure you check that out. And of course, over on our YouTube channel and our podcast feed right throughout the off-season, when it comes to the trade and the free agency period, every player that moves clubs, we will do a player analysis, what it means for the club they've left, the club they've landed at, and how it's going to impact your fantasy footy side in 2026. So please make sure you subscribe, stick around. You are going to get a ton of content coming from us this off season. Let's have a quick look forward to 2026. I'm going to get you to ask a couple of questions. We're going rapid fire answers and maybe a quick explainer on all of them. We are 12 months away from finding out who will be the top scoring player for 2026 across AFL Fantasy and SuperCoach. You're only allowed to pick one player, no qualifiers. I'll even join you on the tree, and we'll see how we go and how big of a ledge either of us is prepared to go out on. In SuperCoach next year, 12 months out, we'll document the call and see how we go. Who are you saying will be the top scoring, not averaging, top scoring player in SuperCoach for 2026?
Let's have some fun. The top averaging player for SuperCoach in 2026 will be Ed Richards.
Here for it. Yeah. I think the top scoring player in SuperCoach, not averaging, scoring player in 2026 will be Finn Callahan.
Ooh, that's a fun one. I
it.
love how we've both gone the young breaking out mid route.
It's on.
Who've had a good year, but can have a fantastic one. Yeah,
there's levels to go. Let's talk AFL Fantasy. Who is the top scoring player in AFL Fantasy? Again, we may see some rule changes in the offseason that may impact some of this, but we don't care. We're going with what we know. Who is the top scoring player in AFL Fantasy for you next year?
Izak Rankine Miller.
The salty South Australian tears of the player that got away. I like it. I'm here for it. I'm all for it. I am going to be accused of recency bias, but I do not care. Harry Sheezel will be the top scoring AFL fantasy player next year. He's been exceptionally good this year, and he's had weeks and rounds where he's just got heat for no reason. Imagine what he's like settled in that role for the rest of the year. Whew, I'm all on to it's cheesy ball for me next year. He won't be defensive eligible, that is for sure. And so why don't you give me one or two players
he won't.
that you think might pick up forward? So we're not saying got it this year and will retain it. Genuine positional changes from now. Give me a couple of guys that you think that don't currently have a status that will get a status.
See, this is the part that I always find, because it's always hard to really forecast these.
Right.
I think the forwards this year is genuinely... I don't see where they're coming from. I genuinely don't see where we're getting new forwards from that are relevant.
Right.
Like, have you got a list that you can pick from? Because I'm stumped, man.
I think we get Flanders from the Gold Coast Suns. I think that's at least, if he moves clubs, I think we get him. So that's, a return back. I think we get Adam Treloar, who again, it's the body is the issue, right? But barely played a game this year. I think, he's going to be in and around the mark as someone that sits in that spot. I think we'll get a couple. There's always one that we get surprised by, but the surprises are happening less and less. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a massive year of positional changes that don't currently exist. Like a Draper from Essendon, for example. He'll be ruck forward next year. And he didn't start the year with it, but he picked it up during the year. A Colby McKercher type, that position will retain and hold. These sort of things we'll see happen, but I don't forecast like Connor Rosie, I think, has done enough to keep defensive status in the totality of the year. But I don't, maybe we'll be proven wrong again, but I don't see these, Horn Francis out of nowhere things that people didn't have it to end the year, but will have it to start the new year. Let's hope we're wrong, but I'm not too sure we'll be. All right, one last question I've got for you before we wrap up the 2025 season on the strategy session. Give me one player. Feel free to go as low-hanging fruit as you like. One player that you would say you're crazy if you don't start this player in 2026, and it's on the premise of fit and healthy. So it's not on the premise of a certain position or getting traded or move clubs. It's got to be they're available. Who is the one player you're like, you're crazy if you don't start this guy?
Back to the well, it's Thomas Stewart. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing it again.
Josh Kelly season 27.
I'm not doing it again.
2.0.
I've got two. I'm trying to think about, but both of these players hurt me in 2025. Both hurt me a lot. Will Day.
Oh, don't you do it.
And Matthias Filippo.
Yeah, I had Matthias, but don't do it with Will Day. Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it to yourself.
Fit and healthy.
Yeah, I know that's
fit
the
and
premise.
healthy. Yeah, but like, if you looked at him in AFL Fantasy, he'll be getting, a bit of a discount on his 2024 average, which we all thought he was underpriced on as well, coming into 2025.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, that's not going to be good.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Mateus.
Right.
Look, he's going to be a rookie
one more
for
then.
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I had Mateus too. Like, he's going to be a rookie in SuperCoach. He was value this year in fantasy, and he's going to get a discount off the 64 that he's priced at. I would prefer him to be given the price that he is, which is the 30s. But that won't happen. Yeah. If he's fit, just an absolute no-brainer pick for me. Just a no-brainer. Yeah. I'm with you, man.
I'll chuck Hayden Young in there as well.
Just good man. There you go. The only other one I had was Josh Kelly, but I felt like that was too low-hanging fruit, so I didn't want to go there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Number one of the 50 most relevant, 2026, just letting you know now, which is all good. Hey, Mini, always been a pleasure right throughout this year, right throughout the pre-season, chatting fantasy footy with you. We know we'll see you around during the off-season. There's still plenty of content coming across our channels. Do stay subscribed, sticking around across socials. But as always, mate, an absolute pleasure. You've done a power of work this year to help thousands of coaches in the fantasy footy community. We're grateful to have you as part of the coaches panel.
Been a pleasure to chat. It's been a great year. I can't wait for 2026's preseason to start with that 50 most relevant. 1st of January 2026, I will be there, and I hope all the listeners are there too.
They absolutely will be. And a massive thank you to you. Whether you've watched a video, get on in touch with us across social media, listen to a podcast, become a Patreon, whoever you are. The reason the Coaches Panel is able to do what it does, impact and support people in their fantasy journeys throughout the year, is because you choose to keep listening, watching, getting involved and subscribing. And so a massive thank you from us to you. You allow us to do something we love doing, and we hope and know that it's continued to be of great support and encouragement, and at times just an accompaniment to your fantasy footy year in 2025. We wish you all the best of luck for the final week of the year. We hope it goes well for you. We hope you win your flag. We hope you get a PB rank and get yourself some memento to take away from 2025. And if it's not those tangible things, it's learnings and reflections to help you get better for the coming season. Thank you once again from me, from Mini, and the entire Coaches Panel team. We're super thankful for you. We're thankful for you for supporting Finders Keepers, and we're super thankful to be doing it all again with you next year here at the Coaches Panel.